Hi, my name is Sabrina and I'm an illustrator from Austria. And today I want to show you how to draw on hair with colored pencils. In this tutorial, you will learn how to draw hair in 8 simple steps using the example of a long wavy hair. For supplies, you will need pencils from H to 4B, a black colored pencil, an eraser and a pen eraser, a blending stump, and some drawing paper. First, you have to print out your reference photo. I recommend you print it out several times. Once you print out the original photo on a regular printing paper, and other copies should ideally be a little brighter or a little darker than the original. This will help you to create a high level of contrast between lights and darks later on. I also print out an extra copy to draw in some helpful guidelines. Okay, now let's start our sketch. At first, carefully draw the outlines of the head, neck and hair on your drawing paper. Use a harder pencil grade, for example 8 or 8B, and make sure not to press down too hard on your paper, because you're creating your sketch. In the beginning, it's completely normal to make mistakes, and you'll often have to fix something. That's why your strokes shouldn't be too dark, so they're easily erasable. If you have trouble getting the proportions right, try breaking down your subject into different simple shapes, such as circles or rectangles. Next, we're going to analyze the different strands of the hair. Take your extra copy of the reference photo and try to recognize abstract shapes throughout the hair. Draw these abstract shapes using a bright pencil. I used a bright yellow acrylic pen, for example. Once you have divided the hair into shapes, transfer the shapes onto your sketch, but without pressing too hard. The next step is very basic shading. Take a look at your lighter copy of the reference photo and detect the areas where the image is darkest. I'd recommend using a softer pencil for this, like B or 2B, and shade the darkest areas on your sketch. Mostly the areas around the neck or on the parting are very dark. Start there. Next, you want to give your hair some more volume and three-dimensional form by adding individual hair strands inside of those basic shapes you created. By dividing the strands into shapes, this process is so much easier for you, and you can work your way through over the head one strand at a time. Make sure that your strokes flow in the same direction as the hair naturally grows. In this sketch you can see how you can shade in a single lock of hair. I always draw my lines from the ends of the strand going in, because the middle part is always the lightest part because it captures the most light. The more lines you draw, the darker everything will look. This creates more contrast with the lighter areas in the middle, and this will make your strand look three-dimensional and shiny. The next step is just a suggestion and not a requirement. It mostly depends on the overall look or result you'd like to achieve. But I think it makes a big difference to smooth out the transitions between values and soften out the individual lines. I like using a blending stump for this part, but you can also use a brush or a cotton swab. Use a blending stump to carefully trace over your pencil strokes and let the flow of the hair guide you. Next, take your pen eraser or a pointed shape kneaded eraser and erase the highlights. Most of the time I accidentally smudge these shiny spots with my blending stump, and I have to pull them back out by erasing the graphite. Take your darker copy for this step. There, you'll be able to notice lighter areas even more distinctly. A pen style eraser is perfect for this because it provides a lot of precision, and you can even erase individual hairs. By this point, your drawing will probably already look pretty good, but you shouldn't stop there. Use a black colored pencil to darken the darkest areas once again, using the same strokes that you used before. Colored pencils provide a more opaque and less shiny finish than regular pencils, and will help you add more depth and contrast, and that will make your drawing look even more realistic. In the last step, we're going to add the final details. This will really make your drawing stand out. If you want your drawing to look natural, you should also invest some time in adding the final details. By that, I mean details such as smaller hairs that don't follow the general flow of the hair, such as flyaways, stray hairs, and all the small imperfections that make your hair look real. You can draw a few flyaways on the outside of the head with a hard pencil grade. Flyaways are usually very thin and hardly recognizable from a distance. In this image, you can see examples of the imperfections, such as flyaways and stray hairs. Some single hairs also cast their own shadow on the hair underneath. The pen eraser is suitable for drawing individual hairs over the main hair areas. Use it to erase small lines over larger, dark areas to add in the flyaway hair. I hope that these tips will help you to draw complex and believable hairstyles, and that from now on drawing hair will be much more enjoyable for you. I'd be happy to hear from your experiences. Don't hesitate to contact me on my website or Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.